All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. We are going to be looking into Docker today, which is something that I've always postponed in learning. Into Docker. Let me see if this chat thing, I have no idea how I'm supposed to bring up every time. Like I always open up. Let's see here. There should be like a pop-up here of some kind, but let me do this. Hello. Sorry, you said why? What even is Docker? All right, let's break this down, okay? Because it is important that we should even reason about why first, right? So yeah, okay. So welcome to the stream. It's gonna be pretty just beginner. I mean, I am a beginner when it comes to Docker. I'm ashamed to admit it, but yes, I don't know anything about this. But it's a very useful tool that I've realized that I need to learn about. So like um okay, for now, right, when I do any kind of machine learning development, I always use Conda environment, and that's how it works, right? But I think a problem is when you start to share things and sort of if you're working or you're trying to productionalize something, then you need to containerize it. That's sort of the way that the cloud is set up and how we deploy things. So I'm curious, first of all, like learning Docker is something that you need to know because you're gonna have to do it at some point when you're productionalizing, right? Unless you're sort of only doing things on your computer, if you're never gonna put it into deployment, then I guess you don't need to learn it. But that's the goal, right? For us to be able to deploy things. And then um, the second question is, do we need to actually, so is it beneficial to use Docker when you're actually developing as well? That is something that I'm a question mark around. But what I'm thinking is that, for example, let's say you spin up a VM because you need uh, some more VRAM or something, then it could be very beneficial to just sort of have uh, you could get your Docker image and then you can just run um, it directly. You don't have to set up Miniconda and all of these things. So Docker would be an alternative instead of using Docker. Um, Unfortunately, guys, I don't have a so this is something that I think should learn, and I need to learn. I don't know the best way to learn it. You're sort of seeing me try to learn it live now. I thought what we could do is obviously like first we need to install this thing. Wait. Oh. So first we need to install the thing, right? And then secondly, they have some getting started docs and so on. So I thought let's take a look at that. Let's see what they sort of say. But okay, so let's say what they like. Let's see what they actually say. Okay, accelerate how you build, share, and run applications. Docker helps developer build, share, and run applications anywhere without tedious environment configuration or management. So that's my understanding. Is that it's sort of it's its own operating system. So when you actually get the Docker image and you run it, you're not running it on your computer. You're running it on a completely sort of separate computer, right? That is set up in this Docker image, and all the packages, everything you need is installed in that. So build. Let's see. Spin up new environments quickly. Okay. Integrate with existing tools. Containerize applications for consistency. Yeah, so you are like, if you containerize, you can run it in any environment, right? If you share, let's see. So yeah, this is a good thing as well. Like, um, that's, I mean, in practice, it might, I don't know, I haven't used it that much, right? But this is the promise, is that how many times do we sort of run into the it runs on my machine kind of a problem where it works, but then somebody else's has some other type of weird setup, and then they're not able to run it. I mean, this happens all the time if you are actually trying to run someone's open source stuff, right? Then this is a common problem. So if you can have a Docker image for it, then it sort of, in theory, should solve these kinds of problems. And it's also, I guess, more secure is another thing. And then ship your applications knowing they'll run the exact same way in an environment locally or in the cloud. Develop with versatility. Deploy with one command. So it's kind of to me, it seems like a way of ensuring that your thing is able to get deployed. You're able to share it in sort of a way that has the minimal amount of problems associated with it. And so that's kind of the sorry for, I mean, that's kind of the, I guess, the reason why we should learn it, right? So the question to me is, how the hell does this work? In terms of not how is it like, how does it work in terms of how did they build it, but actually, like, how do we use it? That's the only thing that I'm kind of curious about here. So okay, they have some walkthroughs here. Get introduced in these 5-minute hands-on guides. So okay, container, let's read about that. It seems important. All right, so a container is an isolated environment for your code. Um, This means that a container has no knowledge of your operating system or your files and runs on the environment provided to you by Docker Desktop. Containers has everything you need down to a base operating system. You can use Docker Desktop to manage and explore your containers. All right, so we can follow this, but before we do that, right, I need to see just um, damn, my FPS is so low. Let's see if this helps. No. All right, anyways, let me know if it's slow or anything. Um, Karpathy started a build Docker from scratch repo, so I got curious. Could you send that? Maybe we could take a look at that one as well. Okay, so setup walkthrough. The first thing you need is a running container. Yeah, so we need to install this thing. That's what I'm trying to see how we do. Is there an install somewhere? Oh, like it was actually a build Docker, like how it works from scratch. Or if you find it, then please send it, and we can at least take a look at it. And thanks, Pratik, for becoming a member. So yeah, we should install this. Thing is, this is a little bit confusing. You have sort of Docker. Let's go here and see. Okay, so what else? On Docker engine, Docker desktop, Docker Scout. Um, Pratik, so at the moment there's not very much difference. We use Docker for work and essentially in both development and deployment. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah. So I mean, I I do think there's value in using it for development as well, because then you're sort of, you don't have to do an additional step in the end, right? You're at every intermediate step you are guaranteeing that it's sort of you can share it at any point in time. But I wonder if you're using sort of GPU and stuff, if that's gonna be a hassle of and stuff like that. So that's one question I have. Unless you want to set everything up every time you run, you're going to create custom documents to set up tooling for you. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. What is it that you're typing on at the moment? So right now I'm only using the MacBook. So actually, like I bought a keyboard like this one, and it's like nice, like blue caps. It's a Vermilo, so like a wireless keyboard, and it's amazing. But I don't know, like for some reason I use the MacBook keyboard, mostly because of the trackpad. Like if I use a mouse and a keyboard, I can't do all these gestures, right? I like these kinds of, it's a kind of a smooth interface. Anyways, okay, Docker Engine. This is the okay, this is the thing we need to install. What's Docker Desktop? And this is an easy, okay, I mean, we like it easy, so let's install this then. Oh, G Oh, okay. Sorry, I misunderstood. Yeah, this is GPT-4. Um, I just used the API instead. It's sort of I like it this way because I can customize it a little bit more. I can set up like temperature, I can set up the system prompt and things like that. So like what is the actual goal for us? Okay, like install and run Docker, like create a Docker container, run scripts with Docker, see if it works with GPU, um, maybe look at Kubernetes up, get an understanding. Like these are like, I don't know, this is like the goal, I guess. Wait, is this a custom GPT? Um, so this is, so the reason I don't like, I mean I like the ChatGPT Plus, but I don't like that it's limiting me in terms of I'm not able to set the temperature. I'm not able to set the custom. I guess they have special instructions, but I don't know if it's the same thing. Here I can set the system prompt and I can also run, this is the main thing. I can run more than 30 messages per 3 hours. I can run as many as I want. Uh, that's like the main thing. I don't know if it's a huge difference though, to be honest. Yeah, I know there's no, but so yeah, I guess so the question is, if you create an assistance or you create a custom GPT, can you also get a API from it? Because if you can't do that, then it's good. So this is very easy, guys. Here you go to this one. I can make a video on this if you want, if it's helpful. But you go to this one. This is the best interface I've found so far. or I've used another interface as well, but this is the best one. It's this one. So I'm streaming now in 1080p and my computer is still lagging. It's weird. Oh guys, I can read the chat, but I can't send stuff in the chat. Oh, that's annoying. Anyways, it's this one, guys. Just search big AGI, and you can deploy it on Vercel. That's how I did it. Just one thing that's incredibly stupid is, and somebody messaged me about this, is that you can actually go to this website, right? I mean, you can go to this. If you go to this and you just use your own API, it's gonna be set locally, and you can use it. Maybe that's the easiest, honestly. Just try do this. Okay, thanks for reminding us. So the goal here is to learn Docker. You need a subscription? I thought this was free. It should be free, right? All right, let me log into this thing. Hello, guys. Nice to see that so many people are in the chat. So I also set the latency to ultra low, so it should be the best sort of. I mean, continue without signing on then. What's your role? I am data scientist. Upgrade your plan. All right. So we watched this one, right? Let's see now. Okay. Open the architecture, select search, specify Docker / welcome to Docker. Docker pull. So, okay, what do I do, guys? I do this, I guess. In the terminal, or and okay. Oh, maybe I shouldn't be on the VPN here. Ah, it seems to work, so I guess it's okay. Dropped frames 4.6%. So should I maybe disconnect this? Is it fine, guys, by the way? Or should I, like, has this stream been working fine till now? Yes, I'm learning Docker for MLOps. Okay, okay, cool. So we pulled that one. What happened exactly? Docker run. Docker run. Okay, so where did this actually come? Like Docker welcome to Docker. It didn't go to my Docker pull. All right. Docker run. First thing you need is to run a container. So I guess we pulled a container from the, I don't know, um, from the repository of different Docker containers. So what happened? Nothing. Expand the optional run. So what's this next step after this? Like we run, I mean, we can run it here, I guess. Optional settings. We can specify these, right? But all right, you just ran a container. Okay, cool. You can view it in the containers tab of Docker Desktop. This container runs a simple web server that displays a simple website. When working with more complex projects, you'll run different parts in different containers. For example, different container for the front end, back end, and database. Okay, cool. So where should we go then? You can view it in the containers. Oh, okay, so we're running this. Okay, cool. I guess we're already running it, right? Because we're running it here. Then we should go to where? This one? No. I mean, I didn't specify the port or anything, so maybe you would need to do that, right? Probably. Um, let's go, if we go back here, we need to run this. It is already in use. By the way, do you guys use the CLI? So can you solve container name? Let's see if it's good. Welcome to Docker, already in use. Oh, I don't have it. Oh, that's fail. Okay, I thought I had set it up. Anyways, okay. Error response. Container name welcome is already in use. All right, let's just run it here then. I would like to run it from. Okay, so then my question is, where is it running? Because it's, oh, there it is, maybe. Uh, Containers tab. So the containers here, there should be one here, right? So let's delete them. Cool. And then let's go to back to this one. And now let's go and run this. Okay. And then let's go to localhost 8088. Nice. Woo. So the cool thing, I guess, is that we didn't need to do any setup, right? Everything is in that image. So like it does a good job of displaying what's actually like useful. Then how do we check So one thing that I'm also wondering is, let's see, because I thought I had set up this. Yes, so source dot Zerzich. See, this is what I tried to do before. Okay. Okay, I will try to do something risky. Okay, are we back? Hopefully we're back. I believe so. So I was wondering just if that's the reason. No, sir. Okay. So check and find name, find all Docker containers. Yeah, it was probably because of that. So there we go. Okay, so then we can do close all Docker containers running. Docker kill is used to kill a container. Okay, so if we do PSA, we can see what's running, and then we can do Docker kill kill Docker container with ID C256DE58714F. Okay. Okay, and then Docker PSA. It's still running? Exited. Okay, exited. So it's not running because before it was up 2 minutes. Now it's exited. Cool. Okay. And then explore your container, stop your container. Oh, it runs until you stop it. All right, so when I want to after, let's say I ran a Docker container with the following command. Oh. I would like to exit that so that it is not continuing to run in the background. How do I do that? Docker stop. Okay, so you actually have a name for it as well. You can stop it, and then you can remove. What does the kill command do? Okay. So it's like if you want to be graceful, guys, you do please stop. I guess if you want to be extra, you do Docker please stop, and then you Docker stop, and if it doesn't work, then you just kill it. That's how it works. Cool. So okay, we saw how to run a container. Cool. Next is how do I run a container? Didn't we just learn this? Okay. So how do I run? What was the difference? Here we saw what is a container. Here we see, okay, I guess like how to create one perhaps. Because we can do git clone this thing. Okay, so Docker file. Here's how we specify, I guess, like how we, what is in the container. So I guess in the previous one, they set up every kind of package we need and so on. Hello, Amaya. And okay, that's cool. You can kill first few characters of ID. That's nice. Thanks. And yeah, it makes sense. That was a long ID as well. I guess you can, if you use names on the Dockers, it's a little bit easier perhaps. So okay, what happens here? We run from this image, we start from a node base image. Then we have work directory. We copy. Okay. Okay, so we create the Docker image there. I would like to have a Python instead, like alternative. Mm. So can we do this? Here, for example, could we do Docker file? Oh, Docker file, and then all right, guys. So we created. We have PyTorch here. What is this? How do I specify the versions and so on? I mean, this I don't want. Okay, latest compress size 3 GB. Here we have 2.1 CUDA, CUDA N version and so on, and then we can specify, I guess. Here is just the latest. Is this CPU version or is it GPU version? Okay, let's see here. So, I mean, we can figure that out at a later point, I guess. Let's just do this first and see if we can just create it. Let's maybe just create. Okay, so you actually like you specify the name Docker build T, and then you specify like, okay, here's where the Docker file is located. So you can do, I guess, Docker build. Oh, okay. All right, so now it's installing from that PyTorch, the latest one, and it's 4 GB, 3.4 GB. All right, and then we can, so okay, let's see, let's go back here. So then, so what are we doing? Docker run, remove my PyTorch Python script. Run, automatically remove the container. Okay, so let's see. It's still building it. I'm really hoping, right? After we build it, like it's only a one-time type of a thing. It should not be taking this long. Yeah, I think guys, I don't know if you're not using, I don't know, like GPT-4 seems to be getting a little bit nerfed lately, but to I mean it's still worth it, I would say. Oh, so you can use it inside VS Code as well, I guess. Uh, makes it easy to build and deploy. Okay, we'll see what this is doing, but yeah, this is taking a while, guys. Holy crap! Like creating, it's a very this is like the most simplistic image as well. Right? We're or I guess not, right? Because it's PyTorch. Maybe it's a lot if it's CUDA and stuff. I'm not sure. Do 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 do. And what is this? Okay, cool. So how do I use this thing as well? And expose port from uh install Docker, blah blah blah, run. Okay. That's, I guess, is cool. So I mean we can, I guess it's supposed that we can specify, right? Instead of this thing where I specify my like conda environment, I could specify like I am able to specify to run it through the Docker instead. That's the thing, I guess. YOLO v5 from scratch. You trying to kill me? It's gonna take me a long time. And why YOLO v5? If we're gonna do it, let's do YOLO v8 or I mean, it's YOLO v8. That's the latest one, right? I mean, these YOLO thing have gone crazy though. I'm much more. Do any one of you know how? So last week, right, I did a stream on the Cog VLM, so Vision Language Models, and it's able to do this thing called grounding, where you can actually ask for bounding box and so on. Are you able to? Has anyone seen a comparison of, let's say, YOLO v7, v8, or YOLO NAS or whatever, or any state-of-the-art object detection model compared to the grounding VLMs? So let's say like GPT-4, if it's, I mean, it's not trained for that specifically, but let's say Cog VLM or any of those. Because it seems to me that the visual language models, that's we're hitting on something that's much more generalized and seems very promising in general, right? I mean, you can now use one model to do, you don't need to do any like very specific OCR kind of model and so on. It's a bit overkill, I agree, but you can use GPT-4 just out of the box instantly. You don't have to think about anything. And so imagine you would, at some point, right, you would have a similar to GPT-4 vision in your local desktop. So that's something like Cog VLM, for example. All right, so cool. So now we installed this. So now check what Docker containers we have. Docker PS, that's how you did it. Docker PS. Why PS? PS. Docker PS. Is it just me, like, why would you name it PS? Can someone like understand that? Process status. Okay. Yeah, I guess. I'm bad at those things, so yeah, that makes sense. Process status. Okay. So then if we do Docker PS, we get nothing. What? So what did I just do? I did something. All right, so it's actually when the container is running. I guess we just created the container. Let's say if we were to, I mean, we can do just a test script. So let's do import torch, do like, I don't know, run a for loop and do some matrix. Print that it was successful. All right, and then Docker run my PyTorch image. That's what we create, right? And then test.py. So this is an interesting thing. Right? If we can run this now, it is here. I think, by the way, the latency now is much, like, Can somebody write something and then we can like tell what latency is? So right now. Wait, sorry. Let's actually redo that. Let me see the timing. Where's the time? Like in seconds. Whatever. I wanted to do like a test of how the latency is. Yeah, okay. So that is like 15 seconds. That's pretty good. So why does this not work? The error you're seeing indicates image you're trying to put. Unable to find. This could be. So I am in the directory of the test.py. If you're in the mode to run, you need to mount the directory as a volume. What the hell? All right, so what is this? So this is so okay. We have a Docker image now with all the packages, right? The idea is that we should never need to use a Conda environment. Those are sort of the two paths, or you use a Conda or you use a Docker. And I guess like I don't know, there might be too simplistic, but that's in my mind how I'm thinking. So if we're using a Docker, then now what I want to do is after I've created it, I want it to be there and I want to be able to run all the script through it. So how do we do this in an easy way? And I guess I have created a Docker image, right? And named it my PyTorch image. Can now I am in a directory with a script and test.py that I want to run. How do I run it using Docker? You'll need to mount the current directory into a Docker container and then execute. Okay, open, navigate, use the following run. So, I mean, this is a little bit complicated, but I guess let's see if it's like a one-time type of a thing. So version. Okay, what are we seeing? I had problems mounting also. The easiest is to mount your folder in your local in the container. So I'm just trying to understand, like here we are also removing the container after we're setting to be, we're mounting, this mounts the current directory to access This seems very complicated. I don't know, maybe it's not, but it seems like, is there not a way to do this easier? I would like to do something like docker run test.py and then name my PyTorch image. You know, like I should run this script using this thing. What is like, what the hell do I need to do all this for? Um, mm, all right, anyways, let's try it then. So here we're doing RMV workspace Python. All right, whatever. Let's see. So one thing, right? It needs to be fast, because if it's not fast, then you're gonna lose development speed. So it needs to be just as fast as if we were to run it using just our conda. That's in my like thought process here. Otherwise, I'm not gonna be using it, right? Um, okay. Okay, let's also go back here. So view your Docker, build your first image. We've built this, right? Run your container. This is, I guess, like what we're doing. View the front end. Docker hub images. This is also what we're trying to do. What's going on? Does anyone know like why this is insanely slow? Docker p Docker ps. So it's been up 3 minutes, and then I mean we're using this command, right? Which I don't know if it's correct or not, but definitely seems. Why is this not working? What the hell? Oh man, that was slow. Okay. What the hell? Conda activate rexes. Okay, Python test.py. Oh, I think I might have like ruined my Conda environments for some reason. And it's a bit unclear, but yeah, this was very slow. I mean, is it same if I run it again? Because that was, I mean, insanely slow. We can do 10, we can do 50. Okay, so maybe it was the actual script. Okay, so that makes sense maybe. I don't know. We need to compare it, right? But for some reason this is not. Yeah, for some reason I don't have it here, which is strange. What the hell? Conda environment. Let's see, conda environment list. Yeah, no torch here either. Okay, so that's something strange. Anyways, it's running it. It's just a little bit strange why it's doing it this way, or like why you need to do it this way. So, okay, here we are removing it after or something. We're specifying, let's see what it said. Okay, so we are docker run, remove the container when it exits, mount the current directory. This sets the working directory, workspace. So we're mounting the current directory into the workspace directory inside the container, and then we're running it. So yeah, maybe I guess that makes sense. Hello to you too, Peter, and Merry Christmas. All right. Yeah. So what's missing, guys? We need to learn how to let's see, what was my actual like notes for this? All right, we want to install and run Docker. We want to create a Docker container. We want to run scripts, and we want to see if it works with GPU. Now we can't do this actually because I'm using Mac, right? But maybe this is something we can do. Um, Okay, and then we can create a repository on Docker Hub. I'm trying to see like what there is to learn as well. Like what is it that we need to know? There's so many different things here. We did this, right? Um, all right, so containerize a Python app. I mean, after Docker file, start with Docker Compose. I don't know. Have we learned how Docker file works in the best way? Is this like the? Are you supposed to run things with? I mean, we can the Docker file we can learn, right? There's I guess more to learn with the Docker file, but is then this like are you supposed to run it using these things, or is there another way to do it? Multi-container. That's I guess what you meant with the Docker Compose. So I feel though like we should spend a little bit more time actually learning about first the Docker file. Um, let's see if there's a good tutorial as well. So, um, I'm more curious like what the terminology and all these things. So here, what is he talking about? Docker install. He's using it in PyCharm, I guess. Okay, he's creating a script. Okay, let's go to Patrick's video. Actually, this guy is also good, I think. Okay, so he creates the Docker file from Python, pip install, and then he's asking it afterwards, he's asking it to run python main.py. So let's see, what does so from um, start with the base image, then run is to execute a command. Command provides defaults for executing container. Provides defaults for executing. Okay, entry point allows the configure that will run as executable. Okay, copy, add. CMD defines default commands and or parameters for a container. These commands can be overwritten by the last one. Guess my brain is a little bit slow. I don't think I really fully understand the difference here anyways, of the entry point and CMD. Here is actually specifying a work directory. So this simplifies things, I guess, because now he can just okay. Set the working directory. Okay, so what's the benefit of setting a work? Copy the script to the folder. Okay, okay. Is this why is this like a how to circumvent this problem, right? Of not having this thing. Because if we can first let's do docker pia. Oh, it's not running. Okay, then let's go to the Docker file and then let's do a Did I just close what he did? Oh no, here it is. So then we'll set the work directory. We don't have any requirements here, but we want to copy. And then start the server. So what does this do? Okay, so I don't know if code is better. Setting up non-root user. Um, PyTorch, PyTorch latest, work directory, install packages, expose a certain port, create a non-root user, specify the command to run. Okay, cool. And what was the idea of running? Let's see. So after we have this, mm, create a Docker image from Docker file in current directory. Docker build my image. Okay, so Docker build my PyTorch image. Oh, that was faster. So did something change here? Yeah, okay, so then what happened exactly? Docker run test.py. Mm. Okay, so I did this, but now when I do Docker test or Docker run. Oh, sorry. Docker run my PyTorch image test.py. Okay, so this makes a lot of sense now. If we specify, so we build the Docker. Okay, so the only question now is, right. So my idea is I create a Docker image. If I share it, then let's see. So to the Docker container. So I guess the confusion here is, are we sharing the script as well, or are we just sharing? Because I'm thinking like this is I want to use it as a substitute for Conda essentially, but I am confused if we are also specifying the actual files and stuff. Then I guess the difference, right, is you can specify the work directory here. If you just have the actual image, then we have all the packages and stuff, and this is just um, for the code part, right? So this is just, you can do this anytime, right? If you've installed this, then updating this is very simple, I guess. Maybe that's the way to think about it. Okay, so let's see, what else is there that we need to figure out? I mean, I think, let's see, guys, is there, what else is there to figure out here? There's a lot, right? But maybe just do, could you explain what Kubernetes is? Docker Engine, a runtime that allows you to build and run containers, Docker images, executable packages, Docker containers, instances of Docker images that runs the application's Docker Hub or registry. K8, on the other hand, is a container orchestration system that manages a large number of containers deployed across multiple hosts. It's designed to help you manage the lifecycle of containerized applications, automatic scheduling, self-healing, horizontal scaling, service discovery and load balancing, automated rollouts and rollbacks. Okay. Uh what else, guys? What else? So to run the same Docker file, which could theoretically, which could in the future use other package versions, um, and break the and yeah, this is what I'm thinking, right? So if we build it once, and if it works, right, with us installing through pip and so on, we want to then push it somewhere and ensure that it works, right? That's kind of the idea. So now, for example, right, Docker PS, we don't have any. Okay, how do I check which Docker images I have? Docker images. Okay, so these are my Docker images. Let's when I run Docker images, I get, how do I remove the none and welcome to Docker, as it is taking up unnecessary space. And I only have 256 gigabyte on this crappy laptop. Okay, and then if we want to kill or remove a specific one, let's remove that one. Docker images, Docker RMI Docker, welcome to Docker. Is using its referenced image. I didn't know it was actually running. I didn't think it was. I remove. All right, let's try this. Docker images. Okay, cool. So then we have that image, right? Docker images. And then, okay, if I have that one, how do I share this new Docker image so that that is using very specific conda environments, package versions, etc., so that people in the future to push it to a Docker registry. The most common, but you can also use GitHub container registry or a private registry. Docker tag. Let's see, Docker tag my PyTorch. Let's create one then, if this works. I guess I also need to create this thing. Let's see. Docker registry. Oh, that's not actually my profile. Uh-huh. Okay, so then we created this, and what happened? There we go. Oh, what is this? 4 years ago? I did something 4 years ago? Okay. Um, okay. So this one now, we should be able to. we should be able to do this, to pull this one. So can we now use this? So from oh, your tag as well. Okay, so then it should be testing v0. Cool. So Docker images. Now we have that one, I guess. Dino PyTorch. Cool. How is Docker remove? Okay. So okay, like what did we, let's see what this guy says as well. But I mean, so here we're specifying, we can specify like the image we want to use, right? And if let's say that we were running very specific requirement file and we don't want to run it in the future, then we can just save that image. People can use that image. It will always work kind of. So that's a really good thing, right? And that we use pip install. We can copy script from our current folder to a work directory, and we can specify that work directory, and then that means that we don't have to basically we're giving our current files to the Docker um, environment. What happens if you modify it locally after you've run it? So that's a question I have. In the Docker file, we're specifying a work directory and then copying files from our current directory to the Docker working directory. This allows us ability to simply run Docker run, etc. The Docker run, and then image Python script, for example. If I then modify the test.py or the script.py, do I need to rebuild or rebuild? How does this work? I guess my question is not that clear. Yeah, so the container will still use that was included. So essentially, so okay, what are we doing here? So I am a little bit confused now. So I mean, we're creating the from this work directory copy, etc., right? Then, however, when you want to override a file that was added, you can use the v when running a container. This will mount a specified host file, effectively bypassing the version. Okay, I mean, that makes more sense, I would say. So Docker run my image name. So what happens if we do Docker run and then we specify v directory Okay, so we can specify v pvd like this. So what are we trying to do? We're trying to. I'm just kind of losing what I'm trying to do. Even I'm doing. Um, I don't want to constantly be rebuilding the Docker, right? I want to mount so then it's always. Oh, it's just a warning. Okay, so then no warning. So there's something that I'm missing here. I think. Um. Oh, okay. Mm, what was it we used before? So I'm trying to think. We did Docker build. Let's see. We can go back a little bit, maybe. I guess this is what we did before, right? So okay, so that works, But then if I change this, it's not gonna run the new one, right? So then we would have to Docker build and then rebuild it, right? I think that's a problem. Um, I don't want to do that. So, uh, so then I guess like we're kind of back to, okay, there is something that I'm missing here. I don't think this should be too difficult. Um, IT is interactively. This is removing it afterwards. And this is the thing that does it. Okay, cool. So, okay, so then if we just remove the interactive part, then, oh, okay, cool. So, okay. So, all right. So, I mean, the question I have then is what's the benefit of actually using the work directory? So is it fair to say that, let's say we have something that's sort of complete, right? Um we just want you to be able to, okay, I guess it makes sense if you're not using live development, right? Then you obviously would want to mount the volume and so on. But let's say that you would want to actually have something that is production ready in terms of, we just have the container, you just run it. You don't have to clone any code and so on, because the code could be modified, right? So we have all the code needed, all the packages, everything in this Docker container, and then you just sort of, that everything works inside it, right? There's no external dependencies of any kind. So I'm curious, for example, with the one we did last week, which was Cog VLM, right? In this case, it was a little bit complicated of setting it up, but I'm curious, if we just use Docker instead, how easy would it have been? Uh, so this is a question mark as well. Like, why aren't you using Docker here then? Uh, does anyone have an answer? Like, why wouldn't they be using Docker? So they have all of these pip install requirements and so on. Why wouldn't you just have a Docker image here with all the code and so on, and you just get the weights from in downloading them? John Doe, set work directory, set mount directly from local to that work directory. Yeah, that's what we did here, I guess. Entry point runs on your code. Yeah, we don't have an entry point now, but so if we do this, let's say, if we do it interactively as well. Oh, okay. So what? Oh, okay. So if we don't do that part and we do it this way, no? Let's go back. I mean, we ran this before, so it should work. Oh, okay. It's not, okay. It should just be one. Okay, cool. So, I mean, if we do this, for example, then, and let's say we have another here, and we do here, and we do some development, print by, is this updated then? Yeah. So that's actually really cool, right? Because then we can actually do development this way. And that way we avoid a lot of stuff in terms of us having to play around with all uh so we can just pull this image and then start doing development instantly on any kind of VM and so on that we spin up, instead of having to download all the like download Miniconda if it's a clean install, right? Then we don't have to download Miniconda, set it up, install it, and all of these things. We just have to install Docker. We can get the image and start developing instantly. And while we're developing, we have an insurance that this works on this would work on any sort of if we give this to another person, it would still work. So yeah, I think that was a good start to Docker. I did feel we get like we only played around with it for 1.5, 2 hours, right? But we did get an understanding. So we did do these three things. Kubernetes, we had an like a very brief look at in terms of what it is, which is basically a way of managing the Docker containers and doing like this horizontal scaling, load balancing, scheduling, and stuff. So it's didn't really understand the pods and that kind of thing, but I felt like we understood. So first, like Docker file, we understood. Let's see, we looked at sort of Docker images, Docker containers, Docker registry, and then we had something called Docker Compose, which we didn't get into, right? Like how to run multiple containers or something like that, or um, we learned like how to some uh, attaching volume or current directory as a volume to the to Docker container. I guess like that's what we learned about um, in this one. So and also the Docker like pushing to the Docker registry. Um, did you have any issues with ML libs on M1, M2? In the when I bought it, yeah, but now, no, I don't. Do feel that the MPS, right, using the sort of the MPS enabled for PyTorch is a little bit untrust. I don't trust it that much. It seems to be a little bit strange. So I don't do anything that requires a lot of um basically I don't use it. And if I do any training or anything, I do it on a Linux machine. But no, I haven't noticed any issues for sort of testing stuff and that kind of a thing. All right, guys, I think that was it for this short stream where we took a look at Docker and tried to understand the basics of it. We didn't obviously we did not do any extensive, right? We didn't do anything extensive here, but we learned the very basics, and at least we now know the essentials of how we can use it for live development. We didn't see if it can be run on a GPU. That is something we need to try maybe in the future. But just simple stuff we learned how to do. So yeah, cool. All right, guys. Let me know if you have any questions before we before I shut down the stream. All right, guys. Thanks so much for joining this one. It was almost exactly 2 hours. I think we learned a lot. It was a little bit of a struggle in the big or like understanding how this works, but I mean that's common. Um, yeah. All right. Have a good day, guys.